good job with the not so much extra rules and stuff in the DMG, but what being a DM is, and supplying the DM with tools that actually aid him in creating an adventure. And I've used some of that in here as well. Like this adventure itself actually was made out of the adventure generator of D&D. So like I came up with like aelithids owned it and they're no longer there. So I've created a real quick story. Aelithids being mental creatures do not so much. Oh, right. Where storyline elements. Let's see here if I can find it. Oh, several creatures have tried to conquer the area, whether it's due to the latent psychic energy or just plain monstrous infighting. No creature has yet to tame the dungeon. Because of this, rooms of the dungeons are almost indecipherable from their original use. Ultimately, the Enclave destroyed itself and the Elder Brain, leaving it barren for centuries to come. So I just kind of came up with a real quick little snippet story that helped the idea of the background that like, so the original dungeon owners did not survive. They died off. They're no longer a part of that, right? So that's how that works. So it's just bite-sized pieces, man. Don't let it overwhelm you. And a lot of stuff can be done on the fly. Like, most importantly, don't worry about stats so much as personality when it comes to stuff like mission givers, store owners, the king, stuff like that. Your stats are gonna be things that you're gonna fight. Now, if you got a player in your group that you know is gonna be like, I'm gonna stab the king because I hate anarchy. Well, then yeah, you might have to make up the king, but you got to get to know your players and stuff like that. And right now, I don't even have a player basis. I'm doing this right here for the eventuality of having a player basis. So I got plenty of time to work on this stuff. So under organizations, this one right here is the one that I've gotten out the most. So, and it's like a wall of text. And this right here, you have to understand what the players will have this program as well, but they won't have the access that I will. What they'll see is something like this. So I can switch it over to player view and see, this is all they see. Like right here, you can look over here, this is all they see, because this is all I have opened up to them, right? I don't even have a map opened up to them right now. So that's what this program is. You're not going to show your players everything. You're just going to show them what you want them to know, right? So now, getting a little bit into the game world, which is why I have this source book right here. Essentially, I've gone through and I've kind of mimicked like the DMG Player's Handbook type thing from a 3.5 4.0 Forgotten Realms. So I've got the living world, the traveling the world, history, treasure, and glossary. So in the living world, then I've got, you know, like some little snippets, the verses of the realms, and believe it or not, like some players made this up. So, like Love Lost, this is something that my wife, who also plays, actually created for her character. So I've included it, and that's another thing that if you DM a game, if your characters go through the time to do something this in depth, feature it in your game. You know, make it a part of the game world. Make it like, if you decide, like, if this ever gets to the point to where I can publish it, and you, Milky Pong's like, man, dude, I saw that dude on the stream. I'm gonna run that realm. That realm's badass. Well, this right here would be in one of the source books, right? So now you have fluff, you have flavor that you can add in. And not only does that give you something, but that makes the players actually feel like they've done something. I actually have God that was created because of a ruse that a player did, and the God is actually a goddess, and the player was actually a male. So it's all kinds of fun. So then, if I want to go to my World Almanac, you can see exactly how much stuff I've created. Each one of these is a post source book. So like, I'm kind of doing this as if I'm trying to publish them, which I guess I kind of am. So Namor's source book is the world. Nomadic peoples, pure elves, so I kind of broke it down into like areas and whatnot. New Alma is probably the most fleshed out, and once you get into here, you can start seeing like how New Elm, it's got like it's all done in chapters and stuff like that. And this is years of work, buddy. Years of work. This didn't just happen overnight. None of this happens overnight. And none of it's going to be like, oh, I got a game Sunday. Let me put everything together. If you're trying to make this level of detail in that short of time, you're just not going to do it. This is built. This is games played. My realm has been, this particular realm right now has been running since about 2006, I want to say. So, what, it's 2017 now? So, I've got 11 years invested into making this much content. So, by no means feel like you've got to do all of this for the first fucking night. If you're starting out, I would get a simple dungeon to throw your adventures in as a introductory to Dungeons & Dragons and how your games are going to run. It also gives you an introduction to dealing with your players and how your players want the game to run. From that dungeon, you give them a base of operations, a town or a village or a hamlet. From that, you're going to want some magic item distributors so they can buy and sell magic items, a couple other shops, a few taverns, and quest givers. That's what you start with. That's it. And then once they give you a character and like, I am the dwarf Rurik, I come from the hills of dwarfdom with the dwarf allies, blah blah blah. You can build off of that. Well, the dwarf Rurik, this is human civilization, right? Over your travels and whatnot while defending the king, you, one of the attaches to the human realms, his young son friended you. Recently you found out that his young son came here as an adventurer, and that's when all correspondence stopped. You came in search to see who he is. You know, something that simple. It's good. Those are called adventure hooks. It's the reason why the character is there. Players are there for the experience and the bitches, right? Excuse my language. I don't know how old you are. So that kind of sums up how my way of going through it, and it's more, I try to do it organically. Like what I need at that moment is what I'm going to do. Like right now I need to get the city map done. Because that's gonna layer off into different things. It's gonna layer off into me being able to go, hey, I've got 5 magic shops I gotta place. Well, where the hell are they? And I might not place them all at the front. I might just say, hey, I've got 5 magic shops, and I'll take note of that. And then a player goes to a magic shop he doesn't like, he goes to another magic shop. Okay, well, that right there tells me that those 2 magic shops, now I got a place to put them, and I can actually record where they're at, so it builds continuity. To me, continuity is a very big thing with games. I don't want my adventures going, well, last time it was blah 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 blah, you know. Because I went from a 4 meter to a 2 meter area, right? So, again, you'll notice that I switch off a lot, and I work on this kind of, it's not really organic, what I'm doing here. It is, but it's not. Well, that's true, you can. So level 1s are great actually because they don't need ties, right? So as a level 1 adventurer, your wizard is still probably you can either go with two different ways on that. Level 1 wizard can either still be in his apprenticeship and he's learning, um, or they can be just finished with their apprenticeship and now they're out in the world and oh fuck, what am I going to do? It's like graduating college, right? Now you got to get an actual job and live in the real world. So that makes level 1 wizards great. Fighters the same way. They can have like a little minor backstory, nothing too major, whatever. But they're all looking for something. They're looking for their place in the world, right? They're very young. They're very new. So you can utilize that. So say that you're trying to get them into a dungeon, right? Well, and it does. Your players have to work with you. Don't get me wrong. So like they don't even have to know each other. So the fighter, he escorted this caravan to the city, and like while guarding the caravan, he found out like there's 3 kids missing in the dungeon. The wizard has stumbled upon the dungeon because he was in search for like some arcane stuff, or an arcane book or whatever, and come to find out, there's rumors of it being in the dungeon. 2 different totally purposes, right? But yet they still get the players to the dungeon. Clerics are easy. Their god just demands it. I mean, it's cheesy, but that's one of the easiest ways to get a cleric involved in anything. So, and then you can also tailor. But tailoring means that you get with your players beforehand, and you and your players both do a little bit of work on their background, right? Yeah, you can do that too. I mean, you might have, like, if your players are experienced, you may have, like, one of them go, oh, this is bullshit. But it's the simple thing of, okay, look, uh, you guys are first level, this is how it works. Well, you can do that. That's not a bad thing to do. Right. Yeah, you can do that. Like, and that's something you can do with first level adventures. It's kind of harder to do with higher level adventures because, you know, they all have like their elite uber ninja stealth elf, blah 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 blah, because they're high level adventures. That's just the way higher level adventures are. First level adventures, you can be like, you're on this quest. You start out on this quest. Get good scrub. You know. The only thing is like, the only time you might have a problem with that is if you have players that will bulk at that, and sometimes you do have players that will bulk at that. But it's just a matter of taking them aside, saying this is how you want to start it, and saying that, like, you know, it's just for right now. Their players can essentially still do whatever they want to do. I usually find people who balk at stuff, they're not there to play the game. They're there to impress people. They're there to usually just be like, my character's the most important thing in the world. You know, Donald Trump that shit. It's gonna be big. Let's see here. So I'm making decisions on the fly too, on placing these roads.